Hello and welcome to Channel Sport this morning. It's great to have you join us again. I am Tayo Salam. All right, this is what the show looks like. We're going to be talking about the Nigeria Professional Football League. We have a new leader in Plateau United after they defeated Shooting Stars 3-1 in their March Day 13 clash. There's also stories coming from the world of the UEFA Champions League where Liverpool have taken a first leg advantage in the round of 16 clash against Inter Milan. That match ended 2-0 at the San Siro. So it's advantage Liverpool going into the second leg. Also on the program in the NBA this time around, where it was all about King James, LeBron James, fueling a fourth quarter rally as the LA Lakers defeated the Utah Jazz to snap a 3-game losing streak. All right, I want to apologize for starting the show. Our late was due to technical problems. Okay, so let's quickly run through the results of the games that were played in the NBA this morning. And late last night, like I said, was fantastic victories for the LA Lakers. There were also wins for the Orlando Magic. They were in action against the Atlanta Hawks. That game ended 130 to 109 in favor of Atlanta. All-star Trae Young, 22 points and 6 assists in that particular victory. Elsewhere, the Celtics, unfortunately, they have lost their 9-game losing streak. They were beaten by Jeremy Grant and the Detroit Pistons, 112-111. That's how that game ended. Elsewhere, we also saw victories for the Indiana Pacers. They snapped a 7-game losing streak by defeating the Washington Wizards 113-108. The Brooklyn Nets have won 2 in a row now. Rookie Cam Thomas leading Brooklyn from a 28-point deficit, with 16 of his 21 points coming in the fourth quarter as the Nets beats New York rivals, the Knicks, 111-106. The Chicago Bulls are still on fire, and so is DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan, 38 points coming for the Bulls in their 128-118 victory over the Sacramento Kings. The Blazers surprisingly defeated the Memphis Grizzlies, 123-119. The Blazers had to overcome 44 points coming from Ja Morant. Elsewhere, the Timberwolves lost against the Toronto Raptors. Precious Achiuwa scoring 11 points off the bench in Toronto's win over Minnesota. The San Antonio Spurs were also victorious on the night. They defeated the OKC Thunder 114-106. Keldon Johnson scoring 22 points in that victory for San Antonio. The Rockets lost against the Suns. Devin Booker with 24 points in that victory for Phoenix. And last but not the least, of course, like I said, the Lakers defeated the Utah Jazz 106-101. There was also a victory for the Warriors, or for the Nuggets rather. They defeated the Golden State Warriors by a single point, 117-116. So those are the results are coming from the NBA games played late last night and early this morning. And our feature match is the one between the Lakers and the Utah Jazz. What a game it was. The Lakers needing LeBron James to step up big time, especially in the fourth quarter, to get that victory. LeBron James scoring 15 of his 33 points in the fourth quarter as the Lakers overcame an injury to Anthony Davis and rallied from 12 points down in the fourth quarter to defeat the Utah Jazz 106-101. LA trade 92-80 through the fourth quarter before it went on a 19-4 run to snap a 3-game losing streak. James had 10 points during that particular rally, so he came up really clutch for LA. James, in case you've not been following, has scored 25 points or more in a career-best 23 straight games. Russell Westbrook also contributed 17 points and 7 rebounds, while Malik Monk added 13 points in that victory. For the Utah Jazz, they were led by Donovan Mitchell with 37 points, including 5 3-pointers. Let's get post-game thoughts from LeBron James and Donovan Mitchell.
Saturday, I mean, obviously we weren't able to close that game out, but I loved our effort, I loved our energy, and I loved our spirit and how connected we were. And I felt the same way tonight. Obviously, it took the sails out of us for quite a while when AD went out, especially with the game that he was having up until that point. So it took us a minute to kind of recalibrate and get it, some bounce back after that. But we closed the third quarter up, in good fashion. Was able to turn around in the fourth and, grab the lead and close the game up.
It didn't hurt the second half. Our turnovers, our focus, when we messed up, it didn't hurt. We didn't feel it, and I think that ultimately changed the game. When they raised their level, it's like, what are we going to do? And, for instance, I had a fast break to start the third, and it was me and Stanley Johnson. Instead of just attacking him, trying to throw it backwards and shit I wouldn't have done in the first, excuse my language, I wouldn't have done in the first half. Talking slipped. Just didn't hurt. And this is, there's no way we should have lost this game, in my opinion. That credit to them, give credit to where credit is due, but we let this game slip.
As Donovan Mitchell there, obviously very disappointed that they threw away a fourth quarter lead, 12 points to be precise, in that loss against the LA Lakers. I'm not going to be doing this part alone. Femi Adefesa is going to join me now. We're going to review this particular game, and more importantly, we're going to be talking about that blockbuster trade that went down on trade deadline involving the Philadelphia 76ers and the Brooklyn Nets that saw James Harden go to Philly and Ben Simmons the other way to Brooklyn. Femi, good morning. It's great to have you on the show.
Good morning, Tayo. Always a delight to be on the show with you, bro.
I know, it's always great to have you, especially when we're talking basketball. You just saw what happened just a few minutes ago or seconds ago. The Jazz are losing against the Lakers, and once again, it was LeBron James stepping up big time for LA.
Right. After big man Anthony Davis went down, I think he had about 70 points in there for that ankle injury. But LeBron is always LeBron. There's that debate about being the GOAT. I don't know, but he's one of the greatest players to play this game. The Lakers are not doing well. Let's be honest. They're struggling. They don't look like the title contenders we thought they would be. But every win will be good now because they're in the playing position. And they really want to really be sure that they can get to the playoffs and not slip away in this moment.
Oh, you're spot on indeed. For LA right now, started the season with championship aspirations. Right now, you have to say that it's all about just qualifying for the postseason, and they'll take it from there. And it's not good. Well, it's a bit of good news concerning Anthony Davis. X-rays have been done, and it's nothing serious. So they're hoping that he will return after the All-Star break after taking treatment on his injuries. So that's it for the LA Lakers and their issues. Let's quickly focus on the trade between James Harden and Ben Simmons, the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm going to get your thoughts, but that's going to be after listening to both players, how they're looking forward to playing for the new franchises.
Originally, when I was going through everything I was going through, in Houston, Philly was my first choice. It just didn't happen. So, but just detailed, I don't really want to get into, the Brooklyn situation. I just knew, for a very long time this was a perfect fit. And obviously you got a big man, the best big man in the league in Joel. And then obviously the coaching, just from top to bottom, it made sense. And I'm just happy and blessed that I'm here. And as Doc and everybody knows and everybody wants is to win. I think we complement each other. Obviously the whole world knows how great Joel's been playing. Not just scoring the basketball, but rebounding. He got a triple-double last game. Just like his presence alone is unbelievable. And I feel like I'm the same way as far as, making my teammates better and doing different things that impact the game at the highest level.
Yes, I think it's just staying aggressive, playing to my strengths, and that's, being a playmaker and making the right plays, setting my guys up, and then defensively, obviously, locking down who I need to lock down. So I'm excited to, get in the floor with these guys. Is incredible team, incredible talent. So super excited. I think it's going to be scary. Having those guys running alongside me, there's, multiple different weapons on the floor. And I think at the pace we want to play at, it's just going to be unreal.
It's going to be unreal. That's the message coming from Ben Simmons. Can't wait to start playing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Femi, back to you. I mean, the obvious question is who's won this trade, Philly or Brooklyn?
I think it's a win-win for both teams, if you ask me.
Okay.
Because you look at the fact that Philadelphia 76ers needed a player that will add to the numbers in terms of scoring alongside Joel Embiid. That was what the young man Simmons was criticized for, not giving enough on the ball. Though he was a fantastic playmaker and he knows how to open the way, in the paint and get passes down the lane. James Harden can do same. He's very tricky. He has good moves, and he can drive to the bucket. He can shoot as well. So it's really a very good move for the Philadelphia 76ers. However, the mental side of it is something to be looked at, because I don't think James Harden is really mentally prepared to carry the burden of the team at this point in time. And it was very obvious with his time, in Brooklyn, though he said, Philly was his first choice. I don't know if you believe that, but I don't. And I did it because, having Kevin Durant, your former teammate, and obviously playing with one of the best point guards in the league, Kyrie Irving, is definitely going to be the first choice you want to make. That's an opportunity. But it didn't work out, and now he's there in Philly, and hopefully, you can work on his mentality, you can work on his fitness, and he'll be able to add to them. I think if he's able to click, Philly will be a very, very tough nut to crack in the Eastern Conference. And on the other side in Brooklyn also got a man that I think they will really, really like to have, because now he's another playmaker. He doesn't need too much of the ball in terms of scoring. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving can do all of that. They also got Seth Curry, who is also a good shooter. Who gives them an addition on the perimeter alongside Joe Harris. So you look at Brooklyn too. I think they got the pieces that they need to become a better team. Hopefully the issue with the vaccine in Brooklyn that is New York will be resolved, because I heard Adam Silver talk about the fact that rule is ridiculous, because away players who are not vaccinated are playing in the Barclays Center, and home players can't play. So if they can get the complement of Kyrie and Simmons plus Kevin Durant and the other group of guys, Brooklyn will be definitely one of those teams to look out for. So far so good as far as I'm concerned. I think it's a win-win for both teams. No winner, no losers. I beg your pardon.
All right, Femi, we're going to see about that in a few months from now. The playoffs is upon us, so we'll see if indeed Brooklyn or Philadelphia are the winners of this trade. Just to add that James Harden's favorite GM is over in Philly now, Daryl Morey, so perhaps that's why he's considered Philly as his favorite destination. Femi.
But he fell out with David Houston when Daryl Morey was there. So I don't know how well that will work out, to be honest. But we'll see.
Indeed. Femi, many thanks for joining us on the program. Appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, bro.
As Femi, a defensive basketball analyst, helping me review some of the games that went down in the NBA, as well as that blockbuster trade between Philly and Brooklyn. Before we leave the NBA, let's take a look at the top performers, all the players that stood out for their teams this morning. Some ended up on the winning side, some ended up on the losing side. Starting with DeMar DeRozan, of course, whenever he plays this well, Chicago Bulls always find a way to win. DeMar DeRozan on the night, 38.6 rebounds and 6 assists. Also making the short list is De'Aaron Fox for the Sacramento Kings. He finished with 33, 6, and 9. Unfortunately, it wasn't a losing effort. Next up is Ja Morant. Big night for the first time All-Star. 44 points on the night, 5 rebounds and 11 assists, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough. They lost as well. Nikola Jokic, MVP. What a fantastic game he had for Denver. 35, 17, and 8. King James himself as well to 33, 8, and 6 for the Lakers in the victory over the Utah Jazz. Donovan Mitchell, unfortunately, in the same game, 37, 3, and 5, wasn't enough. They lost. All right, so that's it for the NBA. Let's get on with the show now. I've got another guest joining me. He's already seated beside me and talking about Daniel Obugo. And together, we're going to be reviewing match day 13 of the Nigeria Professional Football League. Daniel, good morning. It's great to have you on the show.
Morning, Tyler. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, always great to have you. So let's quickly go through the results of the games that went down in the NPFL match day 13, and we'll see how Plateau United have ended up rising to the top of the park. They were in action against Shooting Stars, but before then was Cry United defeating Aimba by a lone goal in Lorry. MFM 1-0 over Katsina United was a late winner right there for MFM. Much needed victory for them. There's also Niger Tornadoes with a 1-0 win over Sunshine Stars, while Plateau United, courtesy of a 3-1 win over Shooting Stars, are now top of the log after 13 games. Elsewhere, Remo Stars, back-to-back losses. They lost against Aqua United by a lone goal. Wow. And last but not the least, Kano Pillars were defeated by Wiki Tourists 2-1. So Daniel, let's start from what happened right here in Lagos between MFM and Katsina United. MFM were condemned to winning that game, and somehow they found a way to get all 3 points.
Yes, let's go. But their third win of the season.
Okay.
Not too good for them, but I'm happy they won. Because it has not been good times for them at all. They've been complaining and rough times. And if you look at it, you begin to ask yourself, is it because they are playing away from the soccer temple? Or, but, you know, I think the manager was here, general manager was here, and he was saying everywhere in Lagos is home for them.
You remember,
It's not been home for them, so to speak, because they've always had this, either they have been defeated or they just take 1 point. So a good one for them. Let's see how they go up from here.
We'll see how they go up from here. We're seeing highlights are coming from that game involving MFM and Katsina United. Like I said, he ended 1-0 in favor of the home side. It's a much-needed victory for them because before this game, they were rooted to the bottom of the log. But after getting 3 points against Katsina United, they're now 19th on the log, 10 points from 13 games. Still not good enough, but then it's a good starting point from them. Perhaps they can go on a winning run from now. Look at that goal. Well-taken strike right there.
The build up to the goal was
beautiful. I mean, this is what we used to see MFM, do,
yes.
Ever since they're coming to the NPFL. But somehow they lost their way this season. It's good to see them score that goal. And look at the celebrations on the touchline. Daniel, you can sense that relief. It's very palpable. You can feel it all the way from OP.
Yes, I watched them train on Wednesday, and that's I think on Monday. And you have to look at it and say, okay, I think they need this win badly. They were talking to themselves. They had their normal routine. They prayed, and you could sense it that it's either win or win.
Yeah.
And which they did. Happy for them. Like I said, let's see where they'll go from here. We hope to see another win as well. Indeed.
We hope to see another winner right there. Tunde Aziz with the winner on 81 minutes. That's how MFM got all 3 points against Katsina United. Let's take post-match reactions coming from that match.
When we went in after the first half, I just told the players to forget about the first half. First half have gone. We just have 45 minutes more to fight and fight. And when we came in, I saw everything. My guys, they are just fighting until we get the goal. And I'm very happy. Before I came on board, there is a lot of issues within the team, and the new management now, they have done all their best to make sure everything is okay. And with that, I have confidence that MFL will come out of relegation.
I feel so glad. I feel so excited. I feel so much happy, and I really want to dedicate the goal to Dr. Dike Olukoya himself, and I dedicated the goal to the whole team. Though in our previous game against Lobby Stars, I got an assist there. Right from there, I've been having a feeling like if we get back home, like I will have a goal. And I've been telling my friends, my teammate rather, right from the bench, like if I got into this game, I'll grab a goal. And it happened. I dedicated the goal to my parents because in every of my games, they do pray for me.
I think we just have to work on our concentration at the tail end of each match. Most of the games at away, they score 10 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go, or 2 minutes to go. So we have to work on the concentration and maturity of the players. Please, We have held on more than 70 or 75 minutes at least. We are not supposed to consider a careless goal like that. We lost more than 80% of the players on ground, and now this is virtually a new team. So it's a work in progress. Yeah, it's a work in progress. It's a new team entirely. If you see the players that came here, most of them are not here now. So that's just it. And if you are working on a new team, you need patience for the process to mature. If you check the position of the club, no coach is not under pressure when you find yourself in that position. It's left for the management to see what I'm doing, if there is progress, if there is improvement with the players or the nature of the results, for them to be more patient. But I believe the boys are improving from the first 3 games that we played. Now we are improving. At least we are taking our home games, and the away matches, it is towards the end of the matches. Even our 3 last matches now, most of it is against Nasarawa and this MFM, Ehimba. All of the matches, we lost it at last 10-15 minutes of the match. So I think we'll just have to push more to get an away game. If not the home game, at least we are picking the points at home, and it's good for us.
Welcome back to Channel Sport this morning. You saw highlights of how Plateau United went to the top of the Premier League, the NPFL rather, when they defeated Shooting Stars by 3-1. And courtesy of that result, they are top of the league. It was a very interesting matchup between those two sides. But Plateau United, one of the most informed side, Daniel, in the league, expectedly they got all 3 points against Shooting Stars.
Yes, not a surprising result.
Results, yeah.
It was expected, and Shooting Stars, they've been firing in all cylinders.
Lately as well.
Lately, so yeah. We're expecting to see, let's say, a tough game, but then...
I mean, you can see they got the first goal right
there. They got
the
first goal, so we're thinking, okay, let's see how it goes.
Perhaps an upset on the cards, right?
Yes, and they've gone to win away. Yeah. You know, like, I think match day 10 or so. So coming match day 13, they did their best, but again, it can't always be your day. But I didn't expect that scoreline 3-1 at all. It wasn't.
Great goal right there, great equalizer right there for Plateau United. They went on to score 2 more goals, and that's how they were able to secure all 3 points. Albert Hillary was also on target for Plateau United in that victory. All right, let's take post-game reactions coming from the game.
Great boys, great management, great tactics. But I think what we just done here, we try to come together, look at the challenges of the team, especially now picking a waypoint, talk to ourselves, work on the team, and you can see that there's more improvement. We are not yet there, but I hope we are going to be there. I also want to thank His Excellency, the Governor, the management, Pius, technical director, for their support for the team, because without them, I don't think we will be where we are today. Great team, you know, when the team promotes, you must expect aggressive from the team, because they understand who we are and where they are coming from. So I think what really happened in that first half is that they took over the midfield in first half. So we tried to do the sub to see what will happen, and see after the sub, everything was settled.
It was not a bad first half. We were very much in the game, and we controlled the game. But in the second half, when you play against a team like Plateau United, you always have to be very focused. You always have to concentrate for the entire 90 minutes. Due to momentary loss of concentration from our defense, a goal was scored. And within a few minutes later, the penalty was conceded. And I think that was the turning point for the game. There is continuity in the team. And for the fact that we came from the NNL and we are bedding in the NPFL, we are getting used to playing in the NPFL. We are adapting to the rigors of playing in the NPFL. And I think the more we go, the more the team will become better.
That's Eddie Tagoye, the head coach of Shooting Stars. Obviously, not very happy that they couldn't hold on after they equalized against Plateau United. 1-0 down, they came back 1-1 in the game, and somehow they lost concentration, that's according to the coach, and conceded 2 more goals So they believe in just without any points whatsoever. Anyways, let's move on to another match that went down yesterday on match day 13 between Wiki Tourists, who somehow found a way to defeat Kano Pillars. What a victory it was for Wiki Tourists. 2-1, and they got all 3 points for match day 13.
Yeah, Kano Pillars have been blowing hot and cold this season.
Yep.
They can't just get their form right. And Wiki Tourists, decent team. For now, I think they've been getting the point, especially at home. So Kano Pillars, I don't know what's been happening to the team of late. This is a team that we know that, yes, they're always there.
They're supposed to be contenders. Every season in, season out. That's their very solid side.
Has been poor for them.
Yeah, it's been poor indeed. I was saying, look at a nice turn away from his marker, and look at the build-up to this goal for Wiki Tourists. You have to say it was a well-worked goal into the roof of the net. Goalkeeper no chance, and that's how they were able to secure the victory over Kano Pillars. Kano Pillars are a much more, a much fancied side than Wiki Tourists, but Wiki Tourists showed them no respect whatsoever, and that's how that game ended. 3-1 in favor of Wiki Tourists. Congratulations to Wiki Tourists getting that victory over Kano Pillars. And like I said at the start of the show, we're still seeing highlights from the game right there. That's another goal scored by Kano Pillars. But obviously, it ended up being a consolation because they weren't able to get any points from that game. And after match day 13, it's Plateau United on top with 27 points from 13 games. Action will continue today in the Nigerian Professional Football League. Rivers United will have the opportunity to go back on top when they take on Abia Warriors. That promises to be a very exciting game indeed. There's also Rangers taking on Nasarawa United. Heartland versus Loki Stars, and Dakada FC will be taking on Gombe United. So these are the games for today. You can always join us tomorrow for a comprehensive review and updates coming from those matches. So that's it for the Nigeria Professional Football League. Time to go to the UEFA Champions League. Fantastic games of football played last night involving Liverpool and Inter Milan, as well as Bayern and Salzburg. And we have one surprising result in that one, and perhaps an expected one in the second one. At the San Siro, it ended 2-0 in favor of Liverpool. Mo Salah and Roberto Firmino with 2 late goals, and they were able to defeat Inter Milan, taking a first leg advantage back to Anfield. And in all the matchup, ended 1 apiece between Salzburg and Bayern Munich. And Bayern Munich had to really, really toil to get a point from that game. Bada Kitsune Johnson is now ready to join us. Bada is going to be helping me, of course, alongside Daniel, to review the 2 games played in the UEFA Champions League round of 16 clash last night. Bada, good morning. It's great to have you on the show.
Morning, Tyre. Morning to the viewers. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Always great to have you, Bada. Let's just cut to the chase and talk about Liverpool and Inter at San Siro. And 2-0 looks like a straightforward, comfortable result, scoreline, performance for Liverpool. But certainly it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. The result sort of flatters Liverpool a little bit. I think those 2 goals were the only 2 shots they mustered on target. But also, we have to say that Inter Milan didn't get a shot on target either. It was that sort of game that promised in periods, in spells, at points, but really never delivered, especially in terms of what happened in the attacking third of the pitch on both sides. Inter will look back and feel like they should have done more with some of their breakaways, especially Edin Dzeko, who just didn't outsprint his markers at different points, especially in the second half. If he had just a little bit of pace, a yard or 2 of extra pace in him, he could have taken advantage of some of those half chances that they carved out when they got in behind the Liverpool defense, but just couldn't maximize the opportunity. I thought that maybe Lautaro Martinez should have been playing further or the furthest of the Inter Milan attackers. But it was a battling display from Inter. They ensured that they weren't overrun, in midfield because they knew that that was the only way that they could stay in the game. Usually, these days, you find Inter play like a 3-5-2 and play a bit further a pitch or further, than they ordinarily would set up under Antonio Conte last season. But this time, they looked more like a Conte team. It was a low block. They couldn't afford to defend high up against the pace of Salah, particularly, and of course, Diogo Jota. And I thought they did well, limiting Liverpool to, I think their first shot on target was in the 70-something minute. So it was that sort of game. There was a lot of midfield action, not a lot of penetration, not a lot of incision in the final third. It looked like a game of who would blink first. And at halftime, you saw Jurgen Klopp send on Roberto Firmino as a replacement for Diogo Jota. And it was that man that got the first goal, near post header to the back post. He just flicked it over the goalkeeper, Andanovic, who had taken a step to his left, anticipating that the ball was actually going to the near post, but he looped it over his head and beyond his reach for 1-0. And from that point, of course, Inter Milan were always going to go gung-ho because remember, in this season's UEFA Champions League, there is no away goals advantage. So it's a case of two finals, essentially. And Inter Milan were looking to tie this one in the hope that at the minimum they could take a result back to Anfield in a week's time and maybe also play for a draw and take it into penalties or something. But they now have a mountain to climb. 2-0, they've lost the first leg. They've got to match that score at the minimum at Anfield. And experience and history will tell us that that's easier said than done. Now they're left with a big mountain to climb. They're not the sort of team that goes away from home and scores a lot of goals, not even in the domestic league. But so, I mean, it's hard to see how they're going to go to Anfield and score 3 without conceding against this very, almost irrepressible Liverpool attack. But on the night, Liverpool were very experienced, very professional, very composed, kept it out at the back. Like I said, limited Inter Milan to no shot on target over 90 minutes. That's not what's as easy as it would seem these days, especially under Simone Inzaghi. Inter Milan as an attacking force have been really, really good. But Van Dijk and co limited them to no shot on target in 90 minutes. And Liverpool are full value for not only the win, but the comfort of playing the second leg in front of their own fans with 2 goals in the bag.
Your spot on Bada. Liverpool certainly in the driving seat for this game, but Jurgen Klopp is not getting carried away. Let's get his post-game thoughts.
They have this deep last line, pass the ball back, and from there they play the diagonal balls to Dumfries or Perisic, so that's difficult to defend. We are a pressing team, but that's how you outplay press. And we tried everything. In the beginning, we did really well. With our high press, I think it was tricky for them to find a way out there, but we didn't get anything from it. So we invested a lot with this high intense pressing, but we didn't get anything for it. So no chance, no goal. And then it's difficult to keep that up. We changed again 3 times early, and the boys who came on had a proper impact. All 3 was really, really good. Bobby scored, and from there we controlled the game and scored a really nice second one. Again after a set piece. So half time, not more, but not less as well.
Perfectly summed up by Jurgen Klopp. Daniel, is there any way back for Inter in this one? I mean, it's just 2-0.
No way
just
back.
2 goals in Anfield and we're easier said than done.
I don't think so. But two key points. The 3 players he brought in the 59th minute, and of course, let's give it to Konate. Is it Konate? Yes, that Liverpool defender. I always say it. You might not like it, but I always say that when you pair Van Dijk with Matic, he makes Van Dijk looks like the main man, and pairing Van Dijk with Konate, yesterday, we saw how the guy was was good on his game. You know, he was so confident, and he made Van Dijk look like, okay, yes, you are the one leading the team. So for me, I think it's done and dusted for Inter. And this is their first round of 16 in like 10 years or so. Like Bada said, experience counts. So Liverpool took it. They did the kiss, keep it simple and short.
So Liverpool did an Italian job on Inter.
Exactly.
Right there at the San Siro. Anyways, we'll see how it pans out in the second leg at Anfield. We're still talking here for Champions League. Let's talk about what went down in Austria between Salzburg and Bayern. Bada, I'll come to you for this one again. And contrary to what a lot of people expected, especially on the back of what happened between these two sides last season in the group stage, Salzburg made Bayern look very ordinary.
Oh, well, Bayern has looked ordinary for 2 consecutive match days now. Remember, they lost to Bochum 4-2 in the league last weekend. And we thought that maybe they were a bit distracted by this particular encounter because, I mean, usually when teams have the Champions League game in a matter of days, they kind of like want to keep it simple, not have injuries and all that. But what I took out from the game yesterday is that you seem to have a chance against this Bayern team if you've got legs in there and you've got a solid defense. There was not a lot of experience in the Salzburg team, but there was a lot of enterprise, there was a lot of energy, and there was a lot of precise passing. And their just transition is super, super impressive. I must confess, I mean, I thought to myself, how is it that I'm just, you know, sort of taking a notice of or noticing this Salzburg team, a lot of youth in there, a lot of, you know, energy, the intensity of their play. Worried Bayern, they tried all manner of tricks in the book. It just didn't work because, you know, once they took out 2 players, there were others doubling up. There was no strategy that, you know, they didn't try to break them down. It just didn't work. If anything, it was Salzburg that always looked like scoring because of the pace on the breakaway. And Adeyemi particularly gave the Bayern defense all kinds of nightmares. Okafor as well, Adamu when he came on. And I'm not talking about an NPFL side. I'm talking about the players of Nigerian descent who happened to play for Salzburg, who yesterday announced themselves to the world. And it was Adamu who got the goal, a very good goal, it must be said. Took it really, really well. When he came on for, I think it was Okafor that went off. And Salzburg just looked like they could actually get...
Bada, kindly hold your thoughts for just a minute. We need to go on this quick timeout. When you come back, you conclude your thoughts. Thank you. You're welcome back. Bada's still with us. Bada, you were talking about Salzburg not fearing Bayern at all. Went a goal up. As a matter of fact, they could have had a couple more goals, and we'll be talking about a major upset this morning.
A bit more composure in the final third, especially from Adeyemi and Adamu himself, the goal scorer later. They could have been 2 up. As a matter of fact, Adamu had the ball cleared off the line in the last 20 minutes at 1-0. Of course, Bayern got back into the game with almost the last kick of the game. Kingsley Coman at the far post after, I think, Muller, he was who got a flick on Pavard's cross. The Salzburg team left that game feeling like they lost it because they were so close to a win, but they can take a lot of heart from just how much trouble they caused a team that usually blitzed teams apart. And, you know, I thought that they were the better team, if you ask me. But Bayern sort of looked very disjointed, didn't look very mobile, especially from defense into midfield. Joshua Kimmich was trying to be the link, but there was a lot of high pressing from the Salzburg team. They were in their faces. They were making it very, very difficult for them to progress the ball into midfield. And so they forced Bayern into trying to play clever balls, difficult balls, trying to find angles on their passes. And they were just easily cutting those passes off and launching their own attacks and springing, you know, counters on them, which Bayern just couldn't cope with. Like I said, if they had maybe a bit more composure, maybe a little more experience in that final third, they could have scored 2-3 against Bayern yesterday, and this morning the headlines would have been written a bit differently. But it's still a major upset of some sort, a major shock, because no one would have expected that the Bayern would have required a last-minute goal to tie the game against Salzburg. I'm sure a lot of pundits, bookmakers who predicted that game must have gone for not only a Bayern win, but a very, very comfortable and a very straightforward win. But it was anything but yesterday. Salzburg, for me, were the better side, and they showed again that much as Bayern can look invincible and impregnable, they do have, some frailties. And yesterday, one of those frailties was laid very bare in front of us, and that's the fact that when they play a high-pressing team with a lot of energy, a lot of youth, a lot of intensity, a lot of legs, they can struggle, and Bayern struggled last night.
All right, Bada, you're spot on. Definitely a couple of chinks in the hammer for Bayern Munich. I will see if Salzburg can take full advantage in the second leg in a couple of weeks from now. But I want to thank you for your time. Appreciate your insights as always. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Diane.
All right, Daniel, unlike Liverpool and Inter, you said that's done and dusted. This one is far from over. 1-1.
Far from over, and I must say the Bayern team, they've also been struggling. Since Nagelsmann took over, they've been conceding goals. In as much as they scored, they've been conceding goals. So we're going to see another scoring clash again, because I don't think this Salzburg team, young, fine, their transition play is awesome. Yeah. And they were attacking Bayern in their own half. That's to show that they have no fear, telling Bayern that we're up on your faces, there's nothing you can do. But again, let's say a little bit of experience cost them that 9-minute goal, because if you look at it, there was a goal cleared off the line. They had a couple of chances. Let's see how it goes, but I think it's not done and dusted. No, of course Bayern will concede, but I don't know if maybe extra time then Bayern wins, but I see Bayern going through, but not just as easy as
when the draw was made.
When the draw was made, exactly. And I need to say this, in the Liverpool game, there was no yellow card. As interesting and open and feisty as the game was, there was no yellow card at all.
Interesting. Wow. All right, guys, keeping it clean. It's all good. All right, so that's it for the UEFA Champions League. And that match was quite interesting, looking at the benches of both teams. On Bayern's side, as a 34-year-old Julian Nagelsmann. And on the other side for Salzburg is a 33-year-old Matthias. Sunday beats me now. 33-year-old on the bench. As a matter of fact, his captain is older than him.
Wow.
Incredible stuff what these guys are doing these days.
Are the young ones taking over?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Coaching keeps getting younger every season. All right, so that's it for the UEFA Champions League. We'll see. Action will continue next week. We're going to see the likes of Chelsea in action, trying to see if they can defend their UEFA Champions League title. Let's take a step down and talk about the Europa League. There's a big match tonight involving Barcelona and Napoli. It's Europa League knockout round playoff stage. We have the selected fixtures for you, but we're going to be focusing on Bayern versus Napoli. There's also Dortmund, Rangers, FC Sheriff, and Braga. Zenit will take on Real Betis, Atalanta versus Olympiacos, FC Porto, Lazio, Leipzig, Real Sociedad, and Sevilla versus Dynamo Zagreb. But it's Barcelona and Napoli that's going to get us talking because obviously of the Nigerian interests. That's Victor Osimhen, as well as Bayern. Barca, what they've been able to do recently. Daniel, how do you see this one playing out, considering that it seems that Barcelona are a lot better than they were during the group stage of the UEFA Champions League? They've made a couple of new signings, before the transfer window closed, and we've seen them in action against the likes of Atletico Madrid. They won that game. Just over the weekend, they managed to get a draw against, their opponents as well. So it's like Barca, surely kind of getting better. And
I think I have another opinion. I think they're still struggling.
Yeah.
I think they're still struggling because...
But not better than they were during the group stage of the UEFA Champions League. That's my point.
Well, if they are 3 now, I think they are just... they were just maybe on a 2.9, so they just moved a bit. But what I know in this game, if Napoli press all through, I don't think Barca will survive. But again, if Napoli give them that much respect, Barcelona will win. On the Barcelona side, I think Xavi is trying to impose a style of play. And he wants to do that so quickly that he had to bring back some old legs. And, you know, he tried to sign, you know, at the point he was even telling Dembele that you will go. And even if you stay, you can't make my team. But surprisingly, Dembele was on the bench against Atletico Madrid. And, of course, I think against Espanyol as well. That Espanyol game was a derby, quite all right. But I'll tell you, Barcelona, they struggled.
Yeah, they struggled.
The young ones are beginning to show themselves, but if you look at it, you have to ask yourself, these young ones, what really can they do? Yes, they're enterprising, but facing a Napoli team that they to be playing hot and cold. Napoli plays well this week. The next week, you see them losing to a smaller team. But again, like I said, if Napoli press still as impressed for full 90 minutes, I don't think Barca will survive. But again,
we'll see.
Xavi has other things to do. I think he has said it that they have to win this one.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I would say it pans out between Barcelona and Napoli later tonight in the UEFA Europa League. Let's take a look at the papers quickly. Sporting Life, we've got it. I am enjoying Foxes. That's according to Wilfred Ndidi. Of course, speculation still surrounding his future at the King Power Stadium. Arsenal to rival Manchester United for Nkuku. Late goals give Reds huge advantage over Inter Milan. We talked about that already. Pochettino, the perfect fit for United. That's according to Teddy Sheringham. Let's go to Complete Sports. That's the next paper. Spalletti Osimhen doesn't have muscle injury. Eagles start to be assessed ahead of tonight's game against Barcelona. Indeed, they set for 200th Leicester appearance. A surplus of good players, a good headache. That's according to Augustin Eguavon, Eagles head coach. We also have Sporting Sun as well. So, but I'm afraid that's all we can take for the show. Daniel, I want to thank you for being a part of the show once again.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you all for watching as well. Enjoy the rest of your day. I am Tayo Salam.